What's going on, people? So you're here again for another episode of the Grids and Guides podcast, where we're here to give grids and guides on being a creative and a designer. And yeah, so what you telling me, Vinz?
Here again.
Back again. You get me
man.
Consistency. Trying to keep this pushing.
Yeah,
So
man.
yeah, what's new? What's on the agenda this week?
Well, like I said, I was focusing more on logo work this year. So literally just getting more logo work in. I've kind of found a bit of a spark back in doing the logos. I used to start off doing a lot of logos, then it turned into more like flyers and print work. But now I'm trying to get more back onto the logos. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, do you enjoy doing like illustration work more so than the flyers?
I do, you know, but you know, like how you gotta be in a mood to eat certain food sometimes. Me personally,
yeah.
I can't just eat cake all the time. Sometimes I'm just not in the cake mood, and sometimes with designs and different things, I have to be in a bit of a mood. But obviously, we're doing this as a business, so it's like you kind of ain't got to say, if that makes sense. Whereas when you're just doing it in your free time, you can actually choose what you want to do. But with the amount of logos that are coming in now, I'm happy that, you know, I can focus on that, because it's kind of got me excited to sit back at the computer again in the lab, you know what I'm trying to say. Whereas flyers all the time, doing the same thing. Anytime you do something that's too much of the same thing, it's never good for you, do you know what I'm saying?
It's boring, isn't it?
Yeah, I just need to stay motivated. So, yeah, man, logos are coming back around. And also I'm realising, I've always known this, but it's more apparent now. Obviously, we've got computer skills in it. So clients can come to us with ideas already. Sometimes they've already got their own marketing and brand strategy. People have came to me like new startup businesses as well. This is why it's created more of a spark, because they don't know what they're doing, and they've came to me and saying, yo, I need your help. I need like a branding strategy, style guide. Tell me the best merch to use. So I'm having to like brainstorm a lot of stuff, and obviously there's a fee with that. So not only am I using my computer skills to create the logo, yeah, I'm also doing a strategy behind it. And there's some brands that I do want to get behind as well, and even be like a silent partner or investor. So there's more opportunities coming, do you know what I'm saying? So that's what I've been working on at the moment. And when I say strategy, there's some people that just come out with their favourite colours, saying, I don't know, dark green and light green. And it's like, okay, if you've got like a construction business, green's more something for like health. Do you know what I'm saying? There's different avenues that these colours suit best. Construction, the first thing that comes to mind, maybe like a black and a yellow. You know, like the caution tape, or like a construction. When you see things on a construction site, it's normally yellow, things that stand out to alert people. It might even be like a red and a white. So they're the things I'm also telling people. Anything to do with like health, anything organic, green, earthy colours like brown. You know what I'm saying? So
colours are very important when creating a brand, because obviously, as you know, like when you're creating a brand, that's what's telling the story about your brand without anyone explaining it. So it's like, as you know, as you've probably seen out on the high streets, a lot of fast food companies, it's going to be reds, yellows, oranges, like all of those things. Like McDonald's is a yellow.
Red and
Again,
yellow.
all of these colours are used for, obviously, we could get into the psychology behind it, but every colour has a significance.
Yeah, but people need to realise there is a psychology behind colours.
There is.
It's what you associate things with, so they need to realise that plays a big part in your logo design.
Yeah, 100%. It's not just about your favourite colour. Like, you've come to a professional to do a job for you, so you have to kind of take that guidance from the professional. Yes, we could say, oh yeah, the customer's always right. In the design field, not always. But obviously, we've got to do what we need to do. Yeah. But we're always going to give you the guides to create the right type of brand and give you the right type of message visually. So, yeah, where was we? Brand colours. Yeah. It's important. So, with the company that you're working with now to create the logo, what type of business is it?
The one I'm doing, well, there's a few at the moment, but the one that I'm going to highlight is it's more... what's that spirit? Like life coach.
Okay.
Life coach, yeah. So, you know, the client has expressed that they would like, you know, like black and golds, maybe like a purple and black. And these are all nice colours because they kind of connect with like spirituality. Couldn't even say it then. But they connect with things like that. So that's the kind of direction I'm going to take it. You know what I'm saying? So it stands out, but it's also something that looks inviting. Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna say, so with obviously you doing the logo, are you creating the whole brand, or is it just the logo that you're creating for them?
The brand's already there.
Okay.
What I like about it is, okay, this is something I don't like when people, they've got an idea, but they're not actively doing it.
Yeah.
This client that's came to me has actively been doing their business for a while. Now it's like a case of, okay, I need my proper branding now.
Yeah.
Because for a long time, it's just been titles on flyers rather than having an actual logo.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I like about this project I'm working on, because we're piecing it together, but you've already got something you're proactive.
Yeah, you're actually in the field doing the work.
Yeah, rather than just waking up one day and saying, oh, I want this, I want that. But because you've got no experience on what you're doing and you're not in the field, you're not even seeing other things in the same kind of audience. You don't even know your target audience. But this client knows their target audience. They've came to me with a few pieces, pieced it together. So we're going through drafts at the moment. They like what I've done so far. And it's always nice when you put samples out there and the client's like, oh, I love this one. I love how you done this. This one represents that. I can see what you're doing. And it kind of reaffirms and lets you know, it gives you that kind of, lets you know that you're on the right track with your creativity and your creativity is still working. You get me?
Nah, it always feels good. You know, when you do send the drafts off and the client's happy, it's like, yeah, man, like they can see that we saw their vision and we've brought it to life. Like that feeling there is always like, yeah, man, like that's what. Then when you explain it to them more so, I feel like that's an important thing to do as well. When you do send your logo drafts or whatever across, speak to your client about it. Don't just send the email with the visuals. It's good to speak your client through it, because then they understand why you've done certain things. Because when they don't know, not everyone has a creative mind like us. So when they don't understand why things are the way they are, they're like, oh, no, I don't like that. But when you explain it to them, they're like, oh, yeah, I get it, that's perfect. Then that can save a lot of back and forth with clients as well.
Yeah. For real. That's a good point, still. Good point. What people don't realize is that also, as a designer, not to say that you're shook or you're scared or anything, but you do get a sense of anxiety sometimes when you send something. You don't hear nothing back. Or the client replies and they're finding it hard to tell you, oh, I like it, but it's not what I thought I had in mind.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there is that time when you send the files and you sit there and you're like, right, sent it. And then you're like, oh.
Waiting in it, just
yeah.
like, oh.
You see like the one tick and you're like, oh. And then you see the blue tick and you don't hear nothing for about 20 minutes. You're like, oh, what's going on?
No, it's worse.
You know what I'm saying?
An email, you send the email and you're like, oh, they ain't responded for a while and that maybe they don't like it. But then again, I think it's just like a lot of us creatives deal with that anxiety of sharing our work. It's like, oh, is it going to be good enough? Are people going to like it? But then deep down, when we actually know, like, there's going to be something in there that they like. And if they don't, I know I can redo it in a way to make it work. And if not, sometimes that's because the client doesn't have a clue what they really want.
Yeah, for real.
That is the case sometimes. You can't put pressure on yourself because the client's not happy with the work, but you've done everything they've asked you to do. Sometimes they don't actually know what they want, so you'll be doing loads of drafts and whatever, and you just don't get to a point where they're happy with it, because sometimes they don't know.
That was a rookie mistake I made when I first started doing logos back in the day, like college days.
I think we all do.
I was doing drafts, in Illustrator, and I'd have like a whole page, and the whole page had about 20 drafts, and I'm sending the 20 drafts and all my developments to the client. So obviously they're having a field day, but also they're just confused because they're like, all right, and there's too much to pick from, too much variety. And what I learned over time is, I'll be real with you, unless I'm asked to do something that's like, 10 drafts, obviously the price is going to reflect that. But also, I normally try to keep it to like 4 or 5. It depends on what project we're working on. It could even be 3. There's times where somebody's gave me their vision. I know exactly what they want, and I've nailed it off the first draft. Obviously, I've got my other developments I can refer to, but I send them that and I say, listen, based on our conversation, have a look at this. And I say, yo, it's perfect. And then we work on it further just to go through the pros and cons. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, man, don't be doing like a sheet of 20 different drafts.
So
also, drafts that you don't use, you can kind of recycle and use for other logos. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's true. It's very true, because we had that conversation before. But just to give a little guidance on when you are sending logos across is, 1, before you start the work, agree on how many designs you're going to send to the client. It might be anything between 4 drafts to I don't know, maybe 3 to 4, I would say, because then it helps you refine. Let's say if you did design 20 ideas, you need to look through the ideas as a designer and say, okay, these are the 4 best ones to the brief. You might give the client one exactly what they asked for, then you might give a few options that they haven't asked for it, but it would work for their branding. And then obviously you send them as single slides, 1 logo per slide, when you send it as a PDF, so then the client doesn't get confused looking at everything together. Would you agree? Or?
Yeah, I agree still, but it's the next thing as well. What you saying about changes? You know, like different changes, because some people have a field day and have to be assertive with them, but then there's other designers now that are like, you only get 2 changes, anything after that is this much. I don't like doing that, but I understand why it's important to do that.
I do that 100%.
I know you do it.
I've done too much of that back and forth. Can you just change this here? Can you just change the colour? Can you just try this? Yeah. I'm like, no, because that's going to waste how much time? I haven't got time to be doing that. Like, I want to, obviously I would love to just do that, but if you want me to do that, you have to pay for that time.
Yeah, of course.
Because otherwise then we're just doing loads of unnecessary stuff for what? Just because you wanted to see the letter I upside down and for what?
Exactly.
Has to make sense, man.
Have you ever done a logo where you send it to the client, it's all done and dusted, they pay, they're happy with it, and about 2 months down the line, could you send them the actual print file? They can open that again in the design software. They maybe went to a printer who's changed it, and it's a different font on the logo. Have you ever seen anything like that?
I saw it a couple of times, you know, or they've added certain things to the logo.
Yeah.
Like,
I've seen it a few times. Pisses me off. Comments like, yo, you've wrecked my creation.
Yeah, it's true, but then I think, you know what? You paid for it. You do what
of course, it's theirs, isn't it?
You get me? I'll just keep the pretty one that I might want to share in a portfolio, whatever. You can.
I don't put that nowhere. See, once you deface my team, it's finished. Yeah, our business relationship is done. Holla at me. I'm always busy now. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
No, I definitely hear that still. But yeah, I guess a little guide on that would be, in your statement of work, whenever you do agree to do a logo, just let people know how many changes or amendments that you're willing to do. So it might be, say, you'll get 2 drafts, initial draft of the ideas, then 1 draft of changes, and then any amendments, let's say after that, you might charge £20 to £40 an hour, depending whatever your rates are as a creative. But yeah, man, make sure you state all of these things before you start the design job.
Yeah, I second to that. I agree with it.
How do you normally share your logos? Actually, not how do you share your logos. What files should someone get?
For logos. All right, then the standard files, what you would need. I'd say a JPEG. You need your PNG, which is a transparent file, and then your PDF. So you can do RGB PDF, which is the, for full color, for screen. And then you can have your CMYK, high resolution print file, PDF. Then you've got like the SVGs. They're normally used for like websites and stuff.
On that as well, isn't it?
Nah, the embroidery one's slightly different.
It's a different file name, isn't it? I'm getting it wrong. So SVG is for web.
Yeah, I can't remember what the name is, but there's a different file for embroidery. If I'm asked for a specific file, I don't mind including it.
Yeah.
But if it takes a long time to render and it requires more work, that's labour in it. So,
what about the raw file? Do you normally give them the AI file as well, or?
I don't, but some people have asked for it with the font as well. And on some logo work I've done, I've been specifically asked for a certain font that you have to purchase. So that incurs on the cost. You're paying for that font too. You get me? So I send that with the full file, but I normally just send the print file. You can edit the print file. Do you know what I'm saying? In Illustrator or whatever it is. Yeah, man. And if you really want the font that bad, you can go on to websites such as Font Scribble. There's a font finder. You literally just scan the font and it will tell you what the font is.
Oh, sick.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So,
what's your favourite font?
A favourite? I like sans serif fonts. So anything that's aggressive but plain. So you've got like, I wouldn't say Arial Black. That's some old school thing. Like things like Impact, Gotham Black's a good one.
Yeah, I do like Gotham
Black serious. This, I can't remember the one that we've put in the logo. But
With
fonts
extra
like
bold.
this, I mean, they suit different things. You wouldn't have like a life coach logo with this kind of font. It's a bit too heavy and too thick. Also, like you see, like nightclubs, the heavy fonts are the best. If you have these thin, formal, twisted up looking fonts,
Hard to read, innit?
like them typical, like, the dancehall flyers. A certain man have got like 5 different fonts on there, and you can't even read the dress code. This is why people turn up in all these funny, like, different clothes because they're not following the dress code because they can't see it on the flyer. I've had man tell me, part of his dress code was Jordans, but people are turning up in Adidas, all these things that aren't on the flyer. And he was saying to me, you know what? I like the way you do flyers because people can read the dress code and they actually come accordingly. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's a big thing with flyers, man. The text has to be legible. Like, everyone should be able to read it easily.
Yeah.
You get me? Because, like, if you can't read the information, why is it there?
An easy thing to remember is if you've got a dark background, have a light coloured text.
Yeah,
if you've got a light coloured
accessibility,
background, have a coloured text that's darker than the background. I'm seeing people put text on a background and the dress code's blending into the background. So no wonder people are coming at wrong times, and you get me thinking that tickets on the door, not getting them online before the dance.
No one
You know
can
what
read
I'm
the
saying?
information, and that's something that people have to be aware of. Accessibility needs. Obviously, with design, depending who your target audience are, but it's good to keep it in mind certain times as a designer, depending what the event or any design work you're creating, accessibility needs. So certain times you just have to have a plain background, a plain background with the text on, and there must be at least, is it like up to 80% contrast? Not 100% sure, but there has to be a big contrast so that people can read the text easily. But yeah, that's another thing I've been learning about recently, accessibility needs with design.
You mean
Like doing stuff for like the council.
Okay.
It's like there's certain accessibility needs that you have to remember while designing. So let's say whenever you've got text, you can't have any text just written on an image background. You have to have, let's say, a colour behind it with the contrast so that people can read it easily.
okay. That sounds like having a style guide, being
Yeah,
told.
it's part of their brand guide, but I think a lot of people are taking accessibility into design as well. Like, as a designer, I think it's important for you to know the basics of accessibility needs now, how the world's going anyway. Like, it's all good creating a good design, but is it accessible for everyone? Can anyone take in this information? Even like writing everything in capitals. Certain times you can't even do that. You have to have the uppercase and lowercase.
Yeah, because it comes across a bit like you're shouting or too aggressive. And if it's for like a brochure design for maybe a nursery, you don't want who sending a child to a nursery where everything's capital letters.
No, I think it's more so because people with certain accessibility needs can't read. It's harder for them to read when everything, because everything's like in one set size in it when it's everything's in capitals, whereas when you got upper, like, you can see the formations of the letters differently,
and it comes across a bit more friendly and soft, a soft tone.
That as well.
You know what I'm saying? That makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
But yeah, there's a lot of new things. Like, when you're working with different types of clients, it opens you up to other ways of working, basically. Like, new ways of understanding, you can't do that, and you learn the reasons why certain things in certain companies just can't do it.
It's like broadening your vocab, except this is visual. It broadens your horizons, gives you an open mind.
Man.
Yeah, man.
That's why I love working with, when you work with a client that you've never been in that field before, it's like, this is why they do certain things that way.
Yeah. I used to run from them kind of things, but when I started doing work with people that are just from a whole different kind of world to myself, not only do you realise you're quite similar, you're just both on different sides of the fence. And then when, you collaborate now, you learn a lot more. Do you know what I'm saying? So,
collaboration's a big thing.
Yeah. I'd like to collab with some more people this year. It's just these designers need to come out the woodworks. I feel like everyone's...
Trust me, let us know. Holler us in, shout us in the comments, in the DMs. We want to know, like, if you're from anywhere, let us know. Designers, let us know so we can connect with you and talk some design.
I also want to see other people's methods of their thinking.
Yeah.
Because I think one way, someone might think a different way. We can both think together and create like a whole new method of coming up with ideas quicker, or do you know what I'm saying? So it's important to network.
Because even like with me and you, when we've done certain things, like certain projects, or even us putting this logo together, it's like both of us had to think and create ideas and like, what about if you try this? Even how you've done the 2 colours on the hoodie, well, it's on here as well, innit? Like, I didn't even think of that, but when you show them, you're like, yo, that looks sick, and it works with the brand and all of those things. So collaboration is very important. And I think that's one thing us creatives should do more so, is collabing, because everyone's, I wouldn't say scared, but everyone just doing their own thing, innit?
They're gatekeeping.
Some people are doing that.
They're gatekeeping. Well. Let's keep it real. People have opportunities and they think, I'm not going to tell this person because I want to shine. You know what? If you tell that person, they can help you on your project.
100%.
And it can maximize your work and maximize your opportunities. Do you know what I'm saying?
The more you talk to people and you're just open, you just don't know who can link you to the next big thing.
And that's a part of what we're doing here as well. We want people to come on here, other creatives, to tell us their experiences, to network, and to promote them.
Tell us your story. Because obviously everyone's story, someone's going to get information or knowledge from it. Even us, like they could be younger than us, but then we could learn loads from them. Same with older. I would like to get an older designer on here still.
Older one. Yeah, but the problem is,
that'd be interesting.
Remember, growing up and that, we didn't really see a lot of older designers. You see, now we're out here and the younger generation are looking up to man, who are within the circles of creativity and design. When I was at uni, my friend's dad was a graphic designer, and I did speak to him as part of my dissertation. But it wasn't a thing that was out here like, like back in the day when people used to make music, it weren't cool. But now it's cool to be an MC. You can make money and streams, and it's more fashionable. Now it's kind of like that with the creative circles, whereas back in the day, when I was at college and uni doing art, people look at me like, you can draw. I'm like, it's more than drawing, but you know what I'm saying? You looked at like it's not cool, but now we're at a stage where it is cool. But yeah, what I'm saying is there weren't a lot of designers out there that we could even look up to, so we had to pave our own way.
That's
true. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it would be good to get an old designer on here. I mean, I'm not trying to say, if you're old, come on the pod, but if you are old, come on the pod. We want to speak to you, want to know your experiences, because we're in the age of the internet and social media. The older designers wouldn't have had that.
That's true.
You know what I'm trying to say?
They would have been reading books and
print making stuff. Remember the old school portfolios we used to take to college, the big folders. Now you can go to a job interview for a design job, take your iPad.
Yeah, it's sure true. It's true.
You know what I'm saying?
I can remember like my very first years of going to look for even like apprentice work, having to bring that folder, and then obviously
you have to mount it and all that.
Yeah, like having all the flyers that you might have made just in there.
Spray mounting it, sticking to your hand and all that rubbish.
I'm so glad that I don't have to do all of that anymore. But at the same time, I would like to get more physical with art, like painting and them sides a bit more. So again,
more manual. More manual work. We actually doing a bit more.
Yeah, man. Because obviously, I love doing things on screen, but it's just like it takes you away from actually using your hands and doing physical work. Because like recently, I brought sketchbook, some Posca pens. So obviously,
Posca pens. I ain't heard that for years.
You get me? All of those little things, because I want to start using my hands more. Like I brought a few books on how to draw. Like I can draw from eye, but it's like I want to know the techniques of certain things. Drawing faces. I don't really draw characters and stuff as much. So it's like I want to learn. Like, so I'm kind of on that journey at the moment as well.
Yeah, for real. You see, this takes me back to the logos thing. When I started to, like how you got certain rappers, they can write bars on the page and then they go in the studio. Then you've got rappers like Jay-Z and Biggie. They just go in the booth and just off top of the dome. When I started doing that in Illustrator, I had my idea that I wanted. I knew how I wanted to execute it, and I'll just freestyle it. Well, not freestyle it, but I'll just do it straight on the computer. Whereas in college, you had to sketch everything. But I've gone back to the sketching thing because I enjoy it. I don't have to. I can just go straight onto the computer, do it digitally. But there's nothing wrong with sketching something, slapping it in, scanning it into the computer, and then building it up. Do you know what I'm saying? And you have a lot more time to think about it and do variations off the screen, and then put it onto on screen. So
no, it's good. I feel like that's why it's like with uni, like you learn a lot of things, but then when you're actually in the field, you don't do as much as the basics as we should. So like, see how you've gone back to doing sketches,
Yeah.
do you feel like it's helped your design process a lot more so? Because instead of you just going straight onto the job, it's like you're actually having a feel and building onto your initial creation.
I'd say it's kind of helped my enjoyment and my engagement to the project.
Okay.
But because I've been doing it on screen for so long, I tend to sketch something, have some good ideas, go on the screen, and then I have a whole heap of more other ideas. I look back at my original ones, I'm like, I haven't done any of these, but I've got my final logo and I've got my developments as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
But I guess it's one of those things where I don't think there's no right or wrong way. It's like whatever works for you. Some people work better by sketching things out. Like you said, some artists will just go in and freestyle something. Some artists will write. But then it's like, if you look at the end product, can you always tell who's free? Just because they freestyled it, does it make it any less than someone who's wrote something?
I don't think you'll be able to tell, but it creates a better engagement with you and the client, because the client, they end up drawing things, or the client probably can't draw, and you've probably done a consultation where you're actually sitting down with them in the office, and then you do a quick sketch in front of them, and because they can see their vision, it kind of just creates a better business working relationship.
Yeah, 100%.
You get me?
Because I can kind of see where your mind's taking things instead of having to wait for that initial draft. So I guess that is helpful still. How do you feel about, obviously with meetings and clients and that now, a lot of it is just, let's say, online calls, or do you do a lot of your meetings face-to-face or just?
Well, I'm trying to utilize technology, so it's like Zoom calls, doing the video calls. A lot of people just decide to FaceTime me, which is a bit rude. But unless I, agree to it, I'd rather not do that. I don't mind emails, to be honest. But again, it just creates a better business working relationship. If you do have a phone call, it's a lot easier as well. It stops a lot of misunderstandings. Sometimes you'll type something to someone, they don't even read it. You get me? And they'll jump to conclusions, or you can't really tell someone's tone of voice in an email. So it is good to just talk it out. But whatever works best for you, innit? I think you should respect the client's views on things. The client should respect how you want to be spoken to and negotiated with. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's
and
true.
if it doesn't work, or if people are speaking to you in a way where you just think, you know what, this doesn't sit right with me, you shouldn't take on the work. You get me? If people don't respect the fact that you need time to set a timeline and a deadline, this ASAP thing.
Yeah.
You're not doing the ASAP work no more.
I've had that conversation a couple of times recently. I'm not doing ASAP no more.
Men doing it.
Because ASAP, for some people, ASAP it's like they want it straight away. Where it's like, there's a process to this.
Yeah,
and then even when you do start it straight away, and it's like, you're still carrying on with the project. Like a couple of weeks later, so it's like you didn't really need it ASAP. Like if I just stuck to my process and said, all right, then this is the process, this is what I've got on, this is when you can get it, then it's like even the final product will be a lot better. But we've had to rush through this process because you've wanted it sooner, but you didn't need it that time. Exactly
that.
So yeah, don't just fall for the ASAP. Get an exact date and time. It's a lot easier than ASAP, because everyone's ASAP is different. So you get exact time and dates for when someone needs their work sent over, the deadline or completion date, let's say.
Exactly that. Spot on.
All right, yeah, man. Want to wrap this up?
Yeah, man. Again, as always, we appreciate everybody that's locked in. Make sure you catch us on the next one. Make sure you follow up the socials. We're on Instagram. Any questions that you do have, make sure you DM us. We're also on Twitter.
Put it in the comments.
We're on TikTok. If you see any posts, feel free to repost it, especially if you can relate to it as well. And yeah, man, look forward to more episodes. So thank you for locking in. From myself and Designer Philly, we're out.